Today I'm making meat and potato pie, and I'm using this chicken breast that we had cooked yesterday. I had cooked 2 chicken breasts yesterday, and we only used one of them because these are from my homegrown chickens and the breasts are huge. And I also have some potatoes that we had yesterday left over that I'm going to dice up. So I'm just going to take this chicken off the bones and dice it up into bite-sized pieces. Now you can use any meat that you want for this recipe, any of your favorites, but we typically use chicken because that's what we have the most of. So when I get the chicken and the potatoes all diced up, I'll be back. All this chicken that I got from that one full breast of the chicken. So it really does go a long way. So now I'm going to get the potatoes diced up. There are the potatoes done. Like as you saw, I had 3 potatoes, and that made plenty of potatoes for this pie. In fact, I might have more filling than I actually need for the pie shell, so we'll just kind of see. And some of the skin just naturally flaked off of the potatoes as I was peeling them, or as I was chopping them, I mean, so I just set them aside. You can peel the potatoes, or you can, however you want to do it. It doesn't matter at all. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put all of the potatoes in a pie shell, and this is just the Great Value Walmart brand roll-out pie crust. I'll show you the box here. I don't make my own pie crust. I'm terrible at it, so I just buy these, and they work just fine. So if you want to make your own pie shell, that's fine, but if you don't, that's great too. So I'm just going to go ahead and put all of these potatoes in the pie pan. And see, there's quite a few potatoes in there. This will be a very hearty dish, a very hearty pie. And my family loves it, especially my son, because he loves potatoes and he loves meat, but he doesn't like shepherd's pie because he doesn't like vegetables or pot pie or anything like that. So, potatoes require quite a bit of salt, so I'm going to lightly salt these potatoes. I'm not going to put a lot of salt on because the broth that the gravy that I'm going to pour over it will have some salt in it. But potatoes always could use a little salt. So that was just kind of just a little sprinkling of salt. And I'm also going to put a few grinds of black pepper. Now the chicken is seasoned. I seasoned it when I cooked it yesterday. I just threw it in a crock pot and seasoned it and cooked it on high for about 5 hours yesterday. So that's how I did the chicken. So, like I said, I may not use all of this chicken for this, and whatever I don't use, I will save and use it for something else. Make some chicken salad or something out of it. So I'm just going to layer the chicken in on top of the potatoes until the pie is very full, but you want to make sure and leave room for the gravy. So you don't want to overfill it. In fact, that's all of the meat that I'm going to put in there right now. There's still a little bit of meat left over here, and I may put that in after I put the gravy in, or I may not. Now let me wash my hands, and I'll take you over to the stove and I'll show you how I make the gravy. In this pan I have 1 can of low sodium Swanson chicken broth, and then I added maybe 1/3 of a can of water to that, and we're just going to put it up on high, and to that, so that it increases the flavor and just makes it that much better, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of this Better Than Bouillon seasoning, chicken seasoning. I get this at Costco in this huge jar, and I love it. I really love it. So I'm going to put about that much, about a tablespoon, in the broth. And I'm going to thicken this broth with cornstarch, a slurry made with cornstarch and water. And the way that you do that is you get your broth hot to a boil, and you mix the cornstarch with a cold liquid. I usually use water. You have to mix it with cold, and then you add it to the boiling broth and whisk quickly. If you added the cornstarch to now and tried to thicken it, it would get very lumpy. So I'm going to go ahead and get this broth boiling and get my cornstarch slurry together, and when that's ready to go, I'll be back. Okay, so my broth is boiling, and I've made a slurry of water and cornstarch. I used about 2 heaping tablespoons of cornstarch and just enough water so that it would dissolve. It's a pretty thick consistency, and I don't know that I will use all of it. So you just start whisking and drizzling it in, and it will start thickening very quickly. And as soon as it gets to the thickness that you want, then you can stop adding the cornstarch. I think I'll add just a little bit more, because I don't like my pies to be real juicy and drip all over the place. So then you just kind of cook this, stirring constantly for about a minute, just to cook the raw cornstarch flavor out. And so when this has been cooked for a minute, I will be back. Okay, so the gravy is ready to pour over the pie, and you just slowly pour it in. All over the pie. And like I said, I make my gravy kind of thick because that's just the way I like it. And I don't like it running all over the place. So now I'm going to kind of just stir this just a tiny bit so that the gravy kind of gets down into all of the crevices. Don't want this pouring over the side. Okay, so I still have just a tiny bit of gravy left in the pan. I'm going to see if I can make a well here in the center and pour it down in there, because there's not really enough to save for another use. and I don't want to just throw it away. Okay, so we got that in, and it appears to me that I could probably use a little bit more chicken in there. I don't think it's going to cause a problem, so I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle the rest of this chicken over the top. Now, we have to put the top crust on. And like I said, I just have these roll of dough that you get at the store. And you just roll it out, unroll it. You can't really see what I'm doing, but it's just really simple. You just unroll it, flatten it out, and then put it on the pie, just like any other kind of pie that you make. Oh, you can probably hear my dog Lucy whining. She's still in her confinement because of her bad back. She is still improving, getting better slowly, but I really think she's probably going to be in there till February. Hopefully, maybe by February we'll be able to let her out. She has been in confinement since the end of September, and she is getting stir crazy, and we are getting stir crazy with her in there, and I'm personally really tired of the cage taking up space in my living room, so I'll be glad when she's able to get out of it. Okay, so let me make sure we're centered here. So basically I rolled it out flat, and then I folded into fourths just so it's easier to position over the pie. And you can just kind of fiddle with it. And then you just crimp the edges down like you would any pie. And the way I do it is this is the way my mom always did it. I don't cut much of the pie dough off. I just kind of fold it under because we like lots of crust. And we just kind of make little scallops around the edge. Let me get you centered better. You can't really see what I'm doing here. So you just crimp it all the way around. Okay, when I get back, when I have this all crimped, I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like before it goes in the oven. So the last thing you want to do before you put it into the oven is cut a couple of vent holes. Now my pie already has a couple of holes that just happened when I was rolling the dough out, so I'm just going to leave those there. I'm not going to try to pinch them shut, and I'll just add a couple of more vent holes in it, and you can be as fancy or whatever as you want. I'm usually not too fancy. And then I have mine on a cookie sheet, so that if it boils over in the oven, I don't have a huge mess in my oven to clean up. So then you put this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes or until the crust is golden brown. Now all of the ingredients inside are already fully cooked, so you don't have to worry about that, and you basically just want the insides to be nice and hot and the crust to be nice and golden brown. So when this is ready to come out of the oven, I will be back and I will tell you how long it was in the oven for. So here it is, fresh out of the oven, and it baked for just right at 50 minutes. So here's what it looks like dished up, and we're having it with some organic corn tonight. That's what it looks like on the inside. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, folks, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.